Morning, Grumpy Grillers. Today we're cooking 3 different meats on the Klose grill. We're going to do a Kielbasa, which is one, smoked turkey, and turkey leg, and we're also going to do a bacon wrapped pork loin. So let's get going. Rub for the pork tenderloin. We're going to do equal parts garlic and then Cattleman's Grill tri-tip seasoning. We're going to rub the pork and then we're going to wrap it in bacon. Going to do a quick mince. And there's one more ingredient that I forgot that we need to add. And that is olive oil. What do you smell? You smell something? You helping? A piece of bone right there. We're going to throw away. Let's see what else we got. We're going to take the silver skin off, because that's no good. And this is a What I would normally do is tie this in butcher twine to hold it together, but I'm going to wrap it in plastic tightly, and then we're going to throw it in the fridge. So it'll keep its shape. Just a big old pork torpedo. Did you get that? That was a double entendre. Okay, so we're out here today trying to get the temps level off here on my Klose pit. There's about 100-mile-an-hour wind again. Fire's doing okay, but today's going to be a exercise in patience and fire management. So the first 2 probes are on the top shelf, and the bottom 2, 3 and 4 are on the bottom shelf for right now. I'm just trying to keep an eye on how these temperatures hold. The pit's been going for about, I would say, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So we're trying to get everything stabilized here. That 4th probe is this one right here, this one on the far edge. So I'm a little concerned that one hasn't come quite up yet, but the whole cooker is still somewhat cool. I mean, I can touch it. So it's a lot of iron to heat up all at once. But we've got wind blowing directly into the firebox, and then it changes direction, and then, you know, it was nice all day until I lit the fire, and now we're back to ridiculous amounts of wind. So that's about as much wood as I expect I'll use today. I'm only expecting to have the fire going for about 4 hours. So we'll see. We're shooting for a eat time of about 7 o'clock. So I'm getting ready here in the next 45 minutes to put the meat on. Once I can get this pit to stabilize. So that's where we're at right now with no wind. So as long as I can keep her up around 265 ambient, that's what we're going to go with. So catch you back when we get the food on. We're going to put this turkey breast on the top shelf. It's about 300 degrees up there. And it should get nice golden brown, assuming we don't have any more issues with wind. Move this for a third time. And then we're going to put this right there. Okay, for this turkey leg we're going to do, we brined it in the brine, which is mostly apple juice, salt, pepper. Just going to dab it dry here real quick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to throw some Cattleman's Grill tri-tip seasoning all over it. Throw it on the top shelf of the cooker, which is running pretty warm right now, about 300 degrees. And hopefully that'll crisp our skin up. And then we'll see how this tastes. We're going to try and cook this leg to a temp of 180. I usually go a little higher. I find that these leg meat parts of the poultry can take a much higher temperature, and it helps break down the collagen and connective tissue in the leg. And when you brine the meat, like we've been doing here, it actually helps keep the juice in the dark meat. So pretty good there. I'm going to roll it around on here, get some more on there. It should be plenty salty having been soaked in the brine. So there. So that's where we are with everybody else. I'm going to put this guy right here. See how he does up there. This is getting close to done, and then we're almost ready to wrap that turkey breast. So I'm going to give that one another half hour, 40 minutes, and then I'm going to wrap it, and we're done. This is our pork tenderloin. It's at 134 internal right now. What I'm going to do is attempt to cook it, crisp up the bacon over the fire, the last 10 degrees, and we'll see how that's going to go. So I'm going to switch mittens here, and then see where we're at. Maybe I won't need to switch mittens. Maybe I'll just do that. Okay, so I'm watching this now. I have to do a voiceover here because I didn't record any of myself speaking when I was cutting these things up. So at the end of the day, it took about 4 hours for all this stuff to get done. The pork tenderloin finished first, and then the turkey breast was right behind it. I threw the kielbasa on with about 45 minutes left on the turkey breast, and then pulled it off. It split a little bit right there. So I'm taking the turkey breast out here. What I ended up doing, and I didn't get any footage of it, was I wrapped the turkey breast in aluminum foil with about a pound of butter. And when I took it off, it was temping at about 130 degrees. And then what I did is I wrapped it in aluminum foil with a pound of butter, and then I put a probe in it and took it up to about 160. I didn't rest it, which I normally do, because at this point it was about 6 o'clock. Everybody was hungry and I was starving, so I wanted to cut into it and get to eating. So what we did was, and you'll see here in a minute after I'm done cutting the kielbasa, is I cut into the turkey breast. It wasn't as moist as it normally is, and I think part of that is because when you take the meat off the cooker right off, it doesn't have a chance to reabsorb its juices, and when you cook it in butter like that, you really should be resting it. The kielbasa came out great. I didn't even temp it. It's pre-cooked. It wasn't anything special. It was a Johnsville kielbasa that we had purchased way back when we started our quarantine adventure, and it had been kicking around in the freezer, and I took it out, thawed it out, and I just threw it on the smoker with everything else. So right now I'm about to cut into the turkey breast. The bark was fantastic. The flavor was perfect. All I did was to season it was I used the salt, pepper, garlic rub that I had used on the chicken from my last video. I didn't get a smoke ring on it this time. Sometimes I do. I think it was just, it was a weird day today, or that day in particular, because the wind was all over the place. It kept changing direction when I was cooking. So very pleased with how it came out. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just taking it back through the butter that's in that tinfoil wrap as I plate it. So as you can see, I mean, the turkey breast wasn't dry by any means, and the flavor that the butter gives it with just the salt, pepper, and garlic is amazing. It's one of my favorite dishes that I did, and I got this recipe from Aaron Franklin's book. I tried it out. I'm not a huge fan of smoked turkey. I find it off-putting, but when I tried this recipe, for whatever reason, maybe, you know, basting the turkey in a pound of butter after you smoke it, it's really amazing. So I was very happy with the way this turned out and how everything ended up. So we had a pretty good meal. We also had potato salad with all this meat. But the kielbasa came out great. The turkey breast came out great. The pork tenderloin here was really, really good. A little on the garlicky side, but for most it was fine. I was worried it was a little too salty, but actually, because I tasted the wet rub, it was perfect. It wasn't dry. There was plenty of smoke flavor in there, and then the salt and the garlic was awesome. So that'll do it for this video. I want to thank you for watching, and hopefully these will get better as we go on. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Have a good one.